All right.
All right.
Good morning. Welcome to Defying Society and Embracing Faith with Holly and Marisa. This is the podcast where we challenge all societal norms and how it relates to our faith.
Yep. So join us as we navigate through thought-provoking topics, how it relates to society and our
Personal stories.
and how it relates to our religious, or I don't even want to call it religious, but spiritual beliefs.
Yeah. If you're not already, follow us on Facebook. We are currently live right now.
Mm-hmm.
And Instagram. We're on YouTube, Rumble.
Yeah.
Spotify.
We're testing the waters on this Facebook Live while recording.
Yeah, we kind of want to.
You have a tendency to go away from the microphone.
So I like to.
Yeah. Thug life.
What's going on?
Oh, yeah, we have someone watching. Chad Warner. That's my buddy.
Oh, hi, Chad.
He's a goofball. Chad, you'll be happy to know that I got a couple birds that came in.
Birds?
He has a bird feeder at his house, and it's the one like that. And so him and his wife have an organic cotton candy business.
Okay.
Which is like cool. A dream come true for any healthy mom.
Yeah.
And they like to support like stay-at-home moms, working moms, and like just to show their gratitude. So because he knew that I wanted.
That's pretty cool.
Isn't it cool?
Yeah.
So I have some videos. Every time I get excited about a bird showing up, it flies away. I'm like, oh my God. So
not only have you become the crazy lady that also like films all her flowers and plants, you'll become a crazy
I'm the bird lady
now.
That's what my life has come
That's
to.
So funny.
But they're so pretty.
They are pretty. You know what's really cool is I have a little Oriole that comes and visits my backyard sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, which is like you'd never see those around
I know.
here. And they're like so bright. You're like, what is that?
Yeah. We get blue jays a lot.
Oh my God, the blue jays around my house are just brutal.
Yeah. They're kind of mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're pretty.
They are pretty.
I mean, sometimes when you're really pretty, you have to be mean.
Yeah, right? Kind of comes with the territory.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
so what's going on?
Not a lot.
Yeah.
I gotta go to work soon. So this will be a quick one.
Okay.
But
I know you had something on your heart a few days ago, which was...
It's actually kind of old news now because everything's been... we're getting distracted with protests. But Title IX was on my thought, like my mind.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago because Biden went in and revised it.
Mm-hmm.
Title IX used to be a way to protect women and girls in their spaces with like sports,
right.
Scholarships, bathrooms.
Mm-hmm.
And he revised it to now say it includes all gender, which is a problem.
So weird. How do you just slip that in?
Yeah, I don't know. But now so I went to go look it up before we got on the podcast to see what the old Title IX used to say. Mm-hmm. I can't even find it anymore.
Because they just updated it and
it says to avoid all discrimination against all sexes.
So what's the point?
I don't know. So now I don't find there's a point in it anymore now.
So what do you think that's going to lead to?
It's going to lead to a lot of problems. So basically a guy who pretends to be a girl can come onto any kind of sport, use a bathroom, apply for a women's scholarship to college.
Now, state by state, can they?
It sounds like a lot of states are challenging it and drawing up lawsuits against the administration.
And school, because schools, how would schools get around that? Like a private school or?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I don't know if it would apply to a private school because aren't private schools kind of separate from what government allows? No.
Mm-mm.
Well, I know the Cleveland Catholic Diocese made it so that way none of that woke stuff is being taught.
It's sticky because the state has to provide a lot of the fundamentals of the education, and I know for sure for special education stuff that's through your district.
Okay.
It's not a special one for Catholic schools. Our city has to come in and provide that for our private school.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would think.
So I don't know how. Well, the thing is I think you'd have to fight it on a very local level, first before.
Right.
I guess. I don't know. But I keep seeing a bunch of stuff too with different girls and different sports. They're purposely sitting out and protesting their own sport.
Their own
Like a
sport.
guy gets, let in. I just saw this guy wreck this. He pretended to be a woman on a track. For track and field,
Yeah.
and like blew
I mean,
these girls out of the water, and I'm like, this is insanity that they're even allowing this. Like, I just can't even wrap my head around it.
I would venture to say that even somebody in not very good shape that was a biological male could be a pretty elite.
They're built different.
Yeah.
Men and women are built completely different. Even from my like dance background, the male dancers, if they train hard, their like jumps are like 10 feet high,
Right.
and like they're just different. They're not
Biologically different.
Which is the way God made us, and now it's all truth is being completely
Blurred.
thrown into a gray area, and we're now we have to just accept that everybody is who they say they are, and you can't challenge it.
Yeah, it's a very weird time. I remember I was working out with a friend a few years ago when it started to really heat up with people competing or trying to compete in whatever category they want to. And she was offended by the fact that they couldn't, or that people would argue it. She was on the side of people should be able to identify where they want to and then compete where they want to. And when I speak to someone about these types of topics, I try to be as I want to hear what you have to say. I don't want to be ignorant. There's always two sides. I want to have a little bit of compassion, but I also
have a line.
Yeah, and I use
Common sense,
but also my spiritual side too. But I have a daughter who I have all my kids play sports, but I just put myself in saying my daughter, let's say she's working her entire essentially life at a sport, and she's devoted all of her time, all of her energy,
a lot of money.
Yeah, money and traveling, everything. She loves it. And then it comes down to her, let's just say swimming, because we have swimmers in our family, and then she gets to the, a level, whether it's high school or collegiate or Olympics or whatever, and somebody's up against a biological male. That's when I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Or
if she can apply for a scholarship and say she comes in second, third place to a guy who will get that scholarship or whatever, who knows?
That's when I'm like, come on, people, if you do support it, if you don't have kids, think about it, think about your own life that you had and everything you worked hard for, would it be fair? So I have to always go back to that thought, man, that would take me to another level.
Yeah, it would.
If it was actually my child in that position.
Yeah. And coming from a boy mom's perspective, I wouldn't even be able to fathom that reality of allowing my son he's like,
to try to do that.
Yeah, I want to join the girls swim team.
Yeah.
What? No,
you're not. Right.
No, you're not. Well, so I think it comes down to the parenting. It's not even I feel bad for the kids because they're being told it's okay to be confused and just pretend to be whoever you want to be.
Right.
That's a problem.
Right.
And I don't know where that comes from. Do you think that comes from single household?
No, I think it's
femininity.
No, it's just brainwashing through the television and society.
But who told us that it's okay to identify as whatever you want to be? Where did the furries even come from? Since when is it okay to get on all fours and pretend to be a dog in the hallways at school?
Well, apparently it's been going on for a long time. So okay, so one of the reasons why I wanted to go live with this podcast recording was because I was hoping that maybe some people who we only have 2 people viewing.
That's so popular.
Share this. Where is everybody? I always have people commenting on other things. I was hoping that people who have kids in the middle school, maybe, or even I guess in elementary school, middle school, high school, or who work as teachers in the public schools, what are they seeing with the furries? If you don't know what a furry is, it's somebody who identifies with or as
An animal.
An animal, yeah. So back in the day, I guess this was popular, like as far back as the 1600s, where people would dress like costumes and role playing and stuff like that.
Okay.
But I guess in the 70s, somebody kind of like some like um comic book or cartoon, something made it take off in the 70s, I guess, too. So a furry is, they're pretty, like my kids make fun of this phenomenon. And no one's an actual one at their private school, like in public, I guess you could say. Like
Yeah.
they can't do it at school.
Well, that's good.
Because they have to wear uniforms and everything.
Good.
But I guess it's happening at the middle school.
I know it's happening for sure in our local middle school and high school. I was at a wedding. Did I tell you this story? I was at a wedding and I was sitting next to this girl who worked at an orthodontist office.
Mm-hmm.
And she said that it was specifically in like orthodontists, all kids, right?
You did tell me.
She said that the amount of kids that come in as an animal is absurd.
This is where we live.
Where we live.
Okay.
She said that they crawl in from their cars and their parents like help them get checked in, and then they crawl across the floor. And it's also like, braces, orthodontics, like she's like, there's like metal, popping out and whatever all over the floor. And she has to tell them like, you're gonna get,
your paws are gonna get hurt.
right? Your hands and your knees are gonna get hurt.
Yeah.
Like, don't do that.
Like you should be walking around on your toes and fingertips because that's what a dog would do.
Right.
They don't go on their knees.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
Picture this.
So when you,
she's like, it's insane. And she goes, and then I have like the other kids who come in and they all bitch because their life at school is disrupted by kids crawling around the floor. They can't even like open up their lockers because they have a dog pretending to go to their classroom.
So when we ask like, how is this happening? Like, how is a parent allowing it to happen? Do you think that the child is doing that full time? Do you think it's like attention? I mean, clearly it's attention.
Yeah, right. It's attention.
Because any attention is good attention for some people.
I just would like to know, I guess, a parent who allows their kid to do that. I wish I could pick their brain.
I wish somebody would chime in on.
Like, I want to know, like, is the dad involved? Like, I don't know why my head keeps.
Well, because our husbands would, the way that husbands are, they would discipline that right out of them, probably. I mean, I would be like, my family's so strict that I would imagine my parents would be stepping in and being like, have you lost your fucking mind? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, are you really letting this happen?
I just didn't think that we would be here. I did not think that this would be an issue when I had a baby. Like, I had Vincent, it'll be 5 years ago in July, and never in my mind or on my radar did I think that I would be dealing with
things. Took a big
during COVID.
Yeah, after that, things went
like everyone lost their minds.
Yeah,
I heard that there's a platypus, by the way, in our high school. A platypus. Yeah, she goes like when she answers the question,
like, so, like roll around on her belly or something.
I don't know, but apparently she doesn't know how. She can't answer questions when she gets called on, and the teachers had to be like, okay, sorry, like you can't answer that question because you're a platypus. So I'll go to the next
man.
So I don't know how are you even passing your grades?
Again, I'm going to ask because of the live. Does anyone have any information on furries at schools?
Our minds are blown.
Yeah, like please, like comment if you
know. And I was just thinking about that too because like the pronoun thing kind of took off before I even realized like there was a furry thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting. Oh, really? Yeah, I don't know. Do you think
it was on your radar?
I guess
I heard about the furry thing, Maria, maybe 3 years ago, maybe.
Okay.
She's in 7th grade.
Okay.
So yeah, she was probably
all kind of like
3rd or 4th grade. They told me about this one girl who since left the school who was full-fledged.
Okay.
You know, after she left the school, maybe she could be that way at her new school.
You know, I don't know. I just have so many thoughts about this. I just feel like the parents who are affirming the craziness for their kids, I just feel like that's such a big problem. Like they should be able to do that when they're like, I think as an adult. And you know what's even worse too is like these doctors who are also affirming everything by actually going through with like hormone blockers. I just can't believe that this is like where we are in life.
Yeah, it's child abuse, really.
Like they took an oath.
Yeah.
As a doctor, like you take an oath to protect your patient, and you're not protecting the kids if you're allowing them to chop off their nut sacks
Right.
and give them hormone blockers to become a female.
Well, that's a completely different. I mean, it's similar, but it's different, obviously, because that is so extreme.
Yeah.
And I understand that kids are confused and all that, but when it comes to the animal thing, I know that Annalise wanted to be a cheetah her all the way up until like last year, and she's 9. She's like, I'm going to be a cheetah when I grow up. And we're like, okay, well, we would kind of laugh like by the time she grows up, she probably can be a cheetah. Joking around, you know, if you took every child's desire to be a certain animal and you nurtured it, I mean, what would you be doing to that kid? Like now she's 9 and she realizes that's really silly, but it was cute at the time. And now she knows that she can't really be a cheetah when she grows up, even though she loves cheetahs.
Vincent thinks he's a doopy doopy right now.
What's a doopy?
Oh, sorry, that's my dog. He thinks he's a dog.
Yeah.
He's so, he crawls around and pants and like pretends. Like I was cutting up watermelon or cantaloupe the other day, and he's taking the pieces of cantaloupe and throwing them on the floor and eating them off the floor like a dog, Yeah. I'm a dude.
I mean, so it wants me to like pick her up and treat her like a baby bunny and all this stuff. But she's 7, and
he's 4 now.
Right.
He's gonna be 5. You know what's
what do
funny?
you think the difference is between identifying as versus identifying with? Because some people will say, well, people are overreacting. It's not that we want to be this animal. We identify with this animal. We're not identifying as the animal. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's how.
But so like I feel like the difference would be like if you're saying I identify as something, you're asking the public and your friends and your family to consider you to be that actual thing. Whereas if you're identifying with something, I feel like it's kind of
like a child.
Like a child would. Because I can identify with, freaking, I don't know. I don't know.
A flower? Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Thank you. I had 2 kids that transferred from private school to middle school, different administration for my son than for my daughter. Hang on. Things seemed way more out of control when Kate went through. Administration matters. Teacher support matters. It is completely out of control in there. My child is much happier in the high school. Middle school was rough. This is a person that lives in our same neighborhood.
So the high school
and the middle school
is better than the high school. The
high school was better. Okay, because thank you so much for sharing that, because I was going to say my daughter, who's in private middle school, has friends at the public middle school, and they come over and tell me all this crazy shit.
So do you think it's better in the high school because they're actually getting like some like pushback from other kids, like thinking that it is like absurd, or are they getting like bullied?
Well, it could be. Well, she said administration is different, okay. But also you grow out of this behavior because you're like going into high school,
and like you're going through puberty, like
you're so confused. That's why it's so dangerous to let people try to identify as a different gender at a young age, because I always say this. It's kind of like when I was growing up, I was tall. My mom loved if I wore like pretty clothes and fitting clothes, but I was like, no, like Michael Jordan t-shirts,
like tomboy,
shorts down to my knees. Nowadays they would be like, are you sure like you're not trying, because I literally was like, I just want to like play basketball and dress like this and whatever. And then all of a sudden, like 8th, 9th grade, going into 9th grade, okay, I like being like a girl and being this way or whatever. And then on top of it, when you think about like just your girlfriends, how confused girls must be. Like, I love my girlfriends. Like, you love them. They're like sisters to you. I don't want to sleep with them,
Right.
but I love them on a different level than I would, my boyfriends or my husband now, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's a different relationship. You could confuse that
Yeah.
if everybody's bombarding you with information that, oh, well, you do really love Susie.
Yeah.
Maybe you love
For a limit more than anything.
You know what I mean?
Like I just try to think of like how I was in middle school. I went through puberty early. I think like right before or right as I was getting into like 6th grade. So my school was like 6th through 8th was middle school.
Yeah.
And it was kind of it was a hard time. Middle school's really, really hard. And I just feel like if you aren't being told to like face your challenges and face your feelings, like I feel like when you go ahead and identify as something else, all you're doing is you're avoiding your feelings, you're avoiding reality, you're avoiding truth.
I think parents are also very distracted right now. I think a lot of kids have been suffering probably for the last 10, 15 years, but even more so the last 10 years with all of the technology and screen time for both parents and kids.
Yeah.
Like, if your kid's constantly seeing you stare at your phone, which most people do, let's face it. Now, I'm not really the kind of person who's like on my phone watching anything. I'll listen to something if I have to do the dishes or something. But you pick up your phone for everything.
Yeah.
Oh, what's the weather? Oh, can you call this person? Oh,
what time is it?
So it's always like this, if you look at how many times you pick up your phone, how distracted are parents? If your kids are being quiet, you're like, oh, good, I could do yada, yada. But they could be in their room getting bullied, watching things that are convincing them of whatever, like you can't rely on the school to keep your kids morally sound and on the straight and narrow. You can't rely on other people, other kids to do that. Like, I feel like it's so much more challenging now as my kids are getting older to like really, really, really pay attention to what's going on. And I mean, I've basically turned into my mother. I mean, my mom was super strict, and now I'm like, no wonder why she didn't let me go anywhere. No wonder why she didn't let me have a sleepover. No wonder why, you know what I mean? Because even then, without the technology, she knew like nothing good ever happens, or like you don't know the position you're putting your child in when you leave them somewhere. I'm not saying you have to put them in a bubble, but people aren't paying attention.
Well, and also like my husband and I were just talking about that with sleepovers, and we were discussing all of our personal stories with sleepovers.
Ooh, you know what? Francesca is a middle school teacher.
Oh,
I would love to hear if you have something. That's my cousin. If you have any information about middle school and furries, I don't know how long you've been listening, but we're just trying to get an idea from different, people who are either in the field or who are raising these kids as to, what you're seeing out there.
mm-hmm.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I thought it's okay. It's all right.
Okay.
But what's funny is the other day. Oh, so we were talking about sleepovers. Oh, okay. So my husband and I were talking about different sleepovers that we've had as kids and how like nothing good comes out of them. Like something goes like, I don't know, for girls, he's like, for guys, it was more mischief.
Yeah.
He's like, especially if you didn't go like, if you're not like really hitting puberty hard. Like it's more so like lighting things on fire or like, sneaking out and like, I don't know.
Destroying
like,
something.
Yeah, destroying something. Whereas I feel like with girls, I feel like it's more like, I don't know. I feel like there's like more like desires. Like there's more like.
Well, they want attention.
Yeah.
You want boys' attention sooner than boys want girls' attention, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I feel like girls are, I don't know, like they're like with my school, like there was a lot of like depression, like cutting was big back then. Yeah. Like, so I remember going to a sleepover and just being like, almost like, I don't know, like struck with like, there's just a whole different.
I remember wanting to go home from like parties before, like when I was young. Like I just wish my mom would come get me because there would just be weird shit going on.
Yeah. Alcohol.
Well, before the alcohol, I'm talking like younger than that. Like alcohol was probably a little bit later in high school or high school at least.
Yeah.
But I know kids are doing all kinds of shit now, which by the way, I hear from my husband that they are like getting kids in middle school who are like tripping out on gummies. So they can like take gummies at school, you know, like in pills, which is not something that was around when we were younger. And so like now they're getting all fucked up at school and there's no way to detect it.
What was that one ADHD pill? That was really big for a minute because it made you lose weight. What was that? Do you remember?
Like back
It
in the
was
day?
like a trip.
No.
No.
Like a workout supplement kind of?
No, it was
I
like
used to take, they took, what was that pre-workout off the market? Ephedra. That was the best. In high school, I would take it before I would work out and like, you know, apparently it's bad for you. So, but with the parents and everything, I find that parents are just as bad as kids when it comes to like gossiping. So instead of a parent being a good community member and being like, hey, so and so came home and told me that your kid did XYZ, I thought you should know. They just tell other parents, which I'm not for. Like if I hear something concerning, I'm calling that parent directly.
Good for you.
And I'm saying like, did you know this or this happened?
Yeah.
Instead of just being like, can you believe?
Yeah. Marisa.
Like how awful. If I found out like later that people knew that my kid did something and never told me, what kind of community is that? Like where's the parenting there?
Right.
We're supposed to be looking out for each other. Right?
As the parents and friends.
Yeah, like back in the day, if you know a parent saw your kid out like smoking a cigarette or something, they'd be like, "Hey, you know, hey, Miss So and So, they're driving the car." Right?
Right.
Now it's like, ooh, you know,
that's
you
not
got to
cool.
parent
That's not
kid. You got to be an adult in your community and like support these kids in any way that you can.
I just feel like accountability is just like kind of like out the window. You know?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But moms especially, they gossip just as bad as the
I'm not looking
as the
forward to
kids.
that. Mine's only in preschool, so
Oh, girl, it happens before you know it. And then, well, boys are a little bit different, I guess, but they're dicks.
yeah.
You know, you'll be wanting to be like. I remember Bennett told me that a story. This was like in second or third grade that his bully did blah blah blah, and I'm like, you have a bully now? You know, my son's like this big kid, lots of friends. I'm like, so as he's telling me what this kid did, I'm like ready to.
You like seeing red.
Kill some.
Yeah.
And like, I got mad. And then the more mad I got, the less he wanted to talk to me. So I had to learn that he needed to be able to tell me something that happened at school without me being like pissed. Cause I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to the school and I'm going to grab him by his shirt and I'm going to say, and he's like, you can't do that, Mom. And now would I have done that? No, but I was so fucking mad. But you know,
I'm so sorry for the kid that makes fun of my kid for the first time.
I mean, I had somebody talking about one of our neighbor boys. They're on the same team or whatever, and they were talking about him because we happen, he brought up, oh, do you know so and so? And then as he's talking, I'm like, really listening because I'm thinking, if you say one negative thing about him, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, right? Because that's a boy I love
my team.
His whole life. So really quick before you got to go, I just want to, because we always like to double back on the biblical perspective on it. Now, there's literally no, scripture that says anything about being a furry. Okay. But what there is, which stuck out to me, is that God made us in His image, right? Mm-hmm. And to create a different image or existence for yourself is kind of going against, like, is really disrespecting God's will for us. I just took some notes today on it because I was like, what does the Bible say about that? So again, the biggest thing that I got out of it was that you're not supposed to have idols and images. And people can say, well, but the minute idolatry comes into play and it surpasses like your walk, then that's not okay. Right. On the flip side, if you are a Christian, you are held at a higher standard for compassion and love for others and respect for others. So how you approach somebody who lives differently than you is super important. Yeah. Right. So we can't sit there and condemn and judge, and we already know that, but like also like if you see that that's happening, where's your love and compassion for that person?
Mhm.
Where's your prayer for that person?
Mhm.
That's not the right path for them,
Right.
but they don't,
Right.
obviously, and your words are going to do nothing. You need to pray for that person,
Yeah.
So that really stuck out to me today when I was kind of thinking about it. And then the scary part about the whole furry situation. Oh, let me see something. Oh my God, I have shared actual printed data with parents in effort to help the child. People choose to believe their kids even against actual data. Good luck sharing. In my experience, so many parents want to keep their heads in the sand. You're so right. And that's sad, So what can you do as a community? I mean, besides,
It's a tough spot. That is a tough spot because I feel like if you're going to get the pushback from the parent and the parent chooses to raise their kid however they want to be raised,
you can make people aware and
I just
then,
feel like it's going to be really sad for the kids when it's like too late, like when they screwed off being a kitty cat all throughout high school. And then where does that leave them?
well, your job is to share
Yeah.
and not judge. And by keeping your mouth shut or agreeing with it, you're putting yourself at that level.
Yeah.
So you should never like outwardly support it just to fit in with society.
That's
Like,
the worst. Can I just tell you that is
Yeah.
absolutely the word that
Yeah.
drives me absolutely nuts.
Right, which we've had
I'll
multiple
just
conversations.
I'll just stand with whatever
Yeah.
because it's the coolest thing to
I don't
do.
want to rock the boat.
Whatever.
So
Go down that road.
when it comes to like how the fallout from this, I would say think about this. It can be as simple as somebody has a hobby and they really like an animal, or it can get to role playing and weird sexual fetishes that lead to other things. And that's where that lifestyle can get, weird, inappropriate. Okay.
Yeah.
And with that, if you take it back to the spiritual side,
Man.
one of the things that the Bible does say in the Old Testament strongly multiple times is not to lay with an animal.
Yeah.
And you're like, I can't believe that the Bible would actually have to say that. Were people doing that? Yes.
Yeah.
People do it now.
People think that they're
So innocently, your child might be like, I'm a kitty cat or whatever.
Mhm.
And then we support it. And then later on, they start getting into these deep, dark paths. And it could lead to some sick shit. Let's face it. Okay. Like you can call me, extreme, or I watch too many shows or something that. That's not extreme.
It becomes extreme when your 5-year-old thinks that he's a dog and you're like, okay, I'm going to go to the store and get you a collar now.
Or a litter box
Like,
for the kitty.
Yeah. The other day, Vincent was playing around with the dog's collar and putting it around his neck. I'm like, get that thing off.
Not safe. It's also just not safe.
No. All right.
Yeah. So I know you have to go.
Yeah. There'll probably be a part 2 to this.
I'm
thinking.
Probably. I appreciate the contribution on here. And I'm sure that as we share this, also people might comment.
Yeah, probably.
And add perspective.
Like, comment, share.
Yeah, just a reminder that we're doing this on my personal page because we don't really have very many followers on the newer Defying Society, Embracing Faith Facebook page. So go over there, follow that page. If you're on Instagram, follow us there.
Yeah.
Spotify. We're on Spotify.
You can find the full episodes on YouTube and
Yep.
Spotify.
And let us know your thoughts on here. And if you enjoyed watching this video, we can do this more often. It's a little more nerve-wracking because if we fuck up, we can't fix it.
But yeah, I edited it out.
Like, you shouldn't have said that. Delete. So anyways, yeah. Let us know your thoughts and God bless.
Bye-bye.
All right.